What's up, guys, and welcome back to my reading journey. Hope we're all doing absolutely fine. And today we're gonna continue with the Discourses by Epictetus, and we're gonna continue with the chapter 9: How one may draw conclusions from the fact that we are God's kinsmen. Let's get started. If these statements are if these statements of the philosophers are true, that God and man are akin, there is but one course open to man: to do as Socrates did, never to reply to one who asked his country, "I'm an Athenian," or "I'm a Corinthian," but "I'm a citizen of the universe. Why do you say that you're an Athenian, instead of merely a native, or of the little spot on which your bit of a body was cast forth at birth? Plainly, you call yourself Athenian or Carthaginian, after that more sovereign region, which includes not only the very spot where you were born, and all your household, but also generally that region from which the race of your forebears has come down to you. When a man, therefore, has learned to understand the government of the universe and has realized that there is nothing so great or sovereign or all inclusive as this frame of things wherein man and God are united, and that from it come the seeds from which are sprung not only my own father and grandfather, but all things that are begotten and that grow upon earth, and rational creation in particular, for these alone are by nature fitted to shape in the society of God, being connected with Him by the bond of reason. Why should he not call himself a citizen of the universe and a son of God? Why should he fear anything that can happen to him among men, when kinship with Caesar or any other of those who are powerful in Rome is sufficient to make live in security, above all scorn and free from every fear? Shall not the fact that we have God as Maker and Father and kinsman relieve us from pains and fears? And where am I to find food to eat if I have nothing? Says one. Well, what do slaves do when they leave their masters, or what do they rely on? Do they rely on fields or servants or silver plate? No, on nothing but themselves. Nevertheless, sustenance does not fail them, and shall our philosopher in his wanderings have to rest his confidence in others instead of taking care of himself? Is he to be baser and more cowardly than the unreasoning beasts? For each one of them is content with himself, and lacks not its proper sustenance, nor the way of life that is naturally suited to it. I think that the old man who sits here to teach you ought to devote his skill not to save you from being low minded and from reasoning about yourselves in a low and ignoble spirit, but rather to prevent young man from arising of the type who, discovering their kinship with the gods, and seeing that we have these fetters attached to us in the shape of the body and its possessions, and all that we find necessarily for the course and management of our life by reason of the body, may desire to fling all these away as vexatious and useless burdens. Vexatious and useless burdens, and so depart to the gods with their kindred. And so your teacher and instructor, if he were a true teacher, should engage in his conflict of argument. Sorry. You come saying, Epictetus, we can bear no longer to be bound with the fetters of this wretched body, giving it meat and drink, and rest, and purgation, and by reason of the body having to adapt ourselves to these or that set of circumstances. Are not these things indifferent, and as nothing to us, and death no evil thing? Are we not kinsmen of the gods, from whom we have come hither? Suffer us to depart to the place whence we have come. Suffer us to be released from these bonds that we fasten to us and weight us down. Here are robbers and thieves, and love courts, and so-called kings, who by reason of our poor body and its possessions, are accounted to have authority over us. Suffer us to show them that they have authority over nothing. Hereupon I answer, man as you are, wait upon God. When he gives this signal and releases you from this service, then you shall depart to him. But for the present, be content to dwell in this country wherein he appointed you to dwell. Short indeed is the time of your dwelling here, and easy for them whose spirit is thus disposed. What manner of tyrant, or what thief, or what law courts have any fears for those to have thus said, and now the body and its possessions? Stay where you are, and depart not without reason. Such should be the answer of the teacher to his gifted pupils. How different is what we see. There is no life in your master, and no life in you. When you have had your fill today, you sit groaning about the morrow, and how you are to find food. Slave, if you get food, you will have it. If not, you will depart. The door is open. Why do you whine? What room is there for tears anymore? What occasions for flattery anymore? Why should one and why another? Why should he gaze with wonder on them that are rich or powerful, especially if they be strong and quick to anger? For what will they do with us? We will pay no heed to what they have power to do. What we really care for they cannot touch. Who, I ask you, will be the master over one who is of this spirit? How did Socrates approach these masters? Surely as one should who is convinced of his kinship with the gods. If you tell me, he says, we acquired you one condition, that you discourse no longer as you have done hitherto. We acquired you on condition that you discourse no longer as you have done hitherto, and that you do not annoy young or old among us. I shall answer, it is absurd for you to suppose that, while I am bound to maintain and guard any post to which you general appointed me, and should rather die 10,000 times than abandon it, yet if God has appointed us to a certain place and way of life, we ought to abandon that. Here you see a man who is a kinsman of the gods in very truth. But as for us, we think of ourselves as if we were all belly and flesh and animal desire. Such are our fears, such are passions. Those that can help us to these ends we flatter and at the same time fear. Those that can help us to these ends we flatter and at the same time fear. Someone has asked me to write for him to Rome, one who, as the world thought, had misfortunes. He had he had once been famous and rich and had now lost everything and was living here. So I wrote for him in a humble tone, and he read my letter and gave it me back and said, I wanted your help, not your pity. So, to Rufus, to try me, he used to say, your master will do this or that to you. And when I answered him, this is the lot of man. Why then, said he, do I appeal to your master when I can't get everything from you? For, indeed, it is true that what a man has of himself, it is idle and futile for him to receive from another. Am I then, who can get from myself the gift of a noble and lofty spirit, to get from you a field of or money or office? Heaven forbid. I will not be so blind to my true possessions. But when a man is mean and cowardly, for him one must needs write letters, as for one that is dead. Make us a present of the corpse of so and his miserable quart of blood. For indeed such a one is a mere corpse and a quart of blood, and nothing more. If he were anything more, he would have realized that one man cannot make another miserable. Alright, guys, thank you for joining me today on this reading session. As usual, we're going to continue tomorrow with the next chapter. Thank you, see you, and bye.